Hello and thanks for joining me. As you can see, I'm in my workshop again today with my Scrambler 1200, and what I want to talk about is doing your own maintenance and your own servicing on your bike. Because if you own one of these bikes, there are a number of reasons why I think you should seriously consider doing your own maintenance. Before I start, I just want to talk about my hat. I don't know if you can see my hat, old guy's rule. I was on one of the Facebook forums the other day, and somebody commented about my YouTube channel and the fact that I've done a few videos on maintenance and repair work on these Scrambler 1200s, and somebody made the comment, "Oh, that old guy." Yes, I'm that old guy. So old guy's rule. There are some advantages of being an old guy in that you've been around the block a few times. So I've done quite a lot of work on bikes over the years. So for me, and if you're a follower of this channel, you'll realise this. For me, doing work on bikes is part of a very big part actually, of the pleasure of owning the bike. I really enjoy doing my own maintenance, and it's something that I've done my whole life, from being a young teenager. I understand for a lot of people, if they're just starting out though, it might seem a little bit intimidating. So I want to say a few things about this. One is that I have started to put quite a few videos up of how to do various jobs. I've even put a guide for, beginner's guide to motorcycle maintenance, so have a look at that if you want. But what I would say is modern bikes like this Scrambler 1200 are relatively easy to maintain. Unlike older bikes, there's not a lot that you need to do on them. Just modern technology, modern production standards means that they require a lot less work. So for example, this bike has a 10,000 mile service interval. Compare that to my old Triumph Bonneville T140, where you're supposed to change the oil about every 1,500 miles. And my KTM has quite a high service interval as well, regular service interval. So it's relatively straightforward, really. With one of these bikes, you only need to do an oil change on it about once a year, unless you're doing really high mileage, and it's an easy job to do. I've done a separate video on the 10,000 mile service, which is the usual annual service on this bike. So if you look at that video, I'll put a link in the description, and I'll put a link at the end of this video of how to do the full 10,000 mile service. So it's very satisfying. It's a very satisfying part of the ownership process. Secondly, it is relatively straightforward. If you watch my video on how to do the 10,000 mile service, there's nothing complicated in there as well. You just need some fairly basic tools, and to take your time and work steadily through the process. And a third factor, which may be important for some people, is you can save yourself a lot of money as well. That's not really why I do it. I don't do it to save myself money. I do it for the satisfaction and the enjoyment. But and I'm not knocking dealers and motorcycle workshops at all. I'm not knocking them, saying that they overcharge. No, but it is quite expensive to get your bike serviced these days. So you can save yourself money, you can have fun doing it, and you can deepen your relationship with your bike as well. Because I do a lot of work on all of my bikes, what I always do is create myself a service sheet for the bikes. I have one for every one of the bikes that I own and bikes that I've owned in the past. And that serves two purposes. Firstly, it's a checklist for servicing, but also it's your record of what has been done and when it's been done. So what I thought I would do is to support people who are interested in doing this, is I would make a copy of my service sheet freely available. So if you look in the description to this video, there's a link where you can then download a copy of my service sheet for my Scrambler 1200, this bike. You can download for free a copy of my service sheet, as long as you please bear in mind that that's my service sheet. It's not the official Triumph service sheet, but it's all of the major work that I do on the bike when I service it. Also, a question which I have seen bandied around on quite a few forums is about torque settings, the torque settings for various different fasteners. So again, separately, I've created a document with all of the torque settings for the main things that you're likely to be undoing and doing up on the Scrambler 1200. And I will make that freely available as well. So again, if you go in the description for this video, there will be a link for you to go and download that sheet of torque settings. And I hope you will find that useful if you are wanting to do your own work on the bike. I do of course recommend that if you're thinking of working on the bike, get yourself a good workshop manual. There are a few ones around. I use the Haynes manuals mainly. There are other ones around as well. I've got several different manuals for most of my bikes. I feel, you know, the more information you can get, the better. But here in the UK, the Haynes manuals are quite popular, and they're usually clear and easy to follow. So if you are relatively new to owning a Scrambler 1200, then I would say, you know, consider servicing it yourself. Obviously, if it's a brand new bike and still under warranty, you'll be wanting to take it back to the dealer to get your servicing done under warranty. But once it's out of warranty, for simple jobs like, you know, changing the oil filter, the air filter, things like that, you know, there's no harm in doing it yourself. If something more major comes up, then, you know, maybe you want to take it into a workshop for that. You know, things like the valve clearances. Although I will make a video on checking the valve clearances on this bike shortly. I never make videos just for the sake of it. I just make a video when I'm doing a job, and I only do a job when it needs doing. And it doesn't need doing on this bike yet. But if you look out on the channel in future, there will be a video on doing the valve clearances coming up. I hope this video has inspired you to give it a go. If you fancy working on the bike, you know, look out for other videos that I'm making on doing, you know, basic maintenance tasks on the Scrambler. You know, I tried to make them as clear as possible. This channel is not a how-to channel. I just record what I'm doing. So all I'm doing is showing you the work that I'm doing on my bike. I'm not purporting to be any kind of instructor, but, you know, if I'm doing a job, I might as well record it, and if that is useful for somebody to watch, to just clarify things or give them some inspiration, then so be it. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this useful. See you again soon. Bye.